Have you enjoyed that? If you have, pick up their album. Go and get it. Listen, we're back. I'm excited because we have Pastors Scott and Tyear McCrary. They are of Faith Church of Atlanta, and they're here with us on Atlanta Live. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you.
You are such a good-looking couple.
Well,
I'm sure you hear that all the time.
Yeah,
we do.
Now, tell me about you. How long have you been married?
We've been married 20 years. We just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary. We had kind of a wedding anniversary birthday party in Aruba. Just this past October. So, wow. Been 20 years, and it's been roller coaster ride, but it's smooth sailing.
Good.
But that's what we want to talk about today, just the longevity of how to maintain a marriage.
That's important. Now, not only are you married, but you're in ministry together. How long have you been in ministry? And tell me about your church.
We pastor the Faith Church of Atlanta. We're in Lilburn, Georgia. We've been pastoring here. It's a relatively new plant. We've been here for 3 years. We're celebrating our 4th birthday the beginning of January, so I'm really excited about that. But previously to coming here, we pastored a church called Ecclesia Fellowship Church that we planted, and we were there for 10 years, and we transferred it over to another couple.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, that was part of our vision, was to plant churches in multiple locations. And so we were, over a course of time when we were in Cleveland, we were really preaching the vision and praying for the vision. And we had accomplished a whole lot of what was on the vision in Cleveland. But the only thing we hadn't done was do the extra church plants. And so, there was a time when, I just prayed and God said, this is going to be the time when you guys are ready to get out of here and go down to Atlanta. And we put it out before our church about 6 months before we came down here, and we left the church there with a good standing, came down here and just started fresh with nothing. As a matter of fact, it was only me, my wife, and my son came down here by ourselves. And then here recently, we've had some people transition from Cleveland down to Atlanta to be a part of the ministry here too.
Atlanta must be a very unique city because so many people, not only from within the states, but internationally have been called to come here to birth their ministries or to continue their existing ministries. And so I know that you're one of many doing powerful, powerful work in this particular area. Tell me about your church in terms of what your focus is, what you really specialize in, what you have a passion for.
One of the very important things that I would say that we are known for is raising leaders. A lot of times you have churches that maintain or help, or I should say assist in helping people stay stagnant, in the sense of they give them a good message of hope, and that's wonderful, but many people need a little bit more because they're called to more. And so one of the things that the Lord had shared with us is to make sure that you raise up leaders. You go, you disciple, you train them to disciple, tell them to take charge. The kingdom of God is here, and they bring it here, and you train them, because a lot of times people go out and they feel the call of God on their life, but they don't have a support mechanism, or they come from a situation where they may be, and Scott and I went through the same thing, where we became the people that folks were threatened by. Well, we didn't want to threaten anybody. We just wanted to be servants, and we wanted to teach people how to serve. And it did not matter how much money you had or what kind of degrees you had and who you knew and if you were famous or not. God said, if they come, when I send them, I'm going to show you a glimpse of what I have for them. And then I'm going to give you the components to pour into them, so that when they leave out of that door, they won't personally or permanently, I should say, disconnect. But they will stay connected. But more so than that, they're going to connect with what I've called them to, but they're going to go out ready. They're going to go out anointed, and they're going to go out full of fire.
Wow.
So that's what we do.
Yeah, we've got people that have come to our ministry that wasn't even sure of themselves, was shy, scared to talk in front of people, scared to pray in front of people. And like my wife said, that God would show us what the gifts they had on their lives, and then we would help train them and get them ready for ministry. We've got people in our church right now that do, there's one young lady, she does her own women's conferences for women who are just kind of broken spiritually. And we're the type that we're not going to be intimidated by any of that. As a matter of fact, we support her. We've had things where some of the people in our churches had to go to other churches and dance and, even speak and sing. And we encourage them to do that. Their gift is just not meant to be held held hostage in our church. We understand that, and if God placed a gift in them, it's me and my wife's job to make sure they share that gift with everybody that they come in contact with. So we encourage that, but one thing we really want to make sure we do is that they're ready. And so we will tell them if they're ready, not that they can't do it, but if you're not ready, then we're going to show you how to get ready.
That's awesome.
And
now, I'm sorry.
The other thing is that we are known for is building families and helping putting them back together. Our church is made up predominantly of young families between the ages, I would say, of 25 and 45. And a lot of times we have generations that never were parented, in the sense, a lot of things they didn't know. And so we kind of help them navigate through becoming from kid-like to being mature people, and then showing them how to be parents and how to have real relationships with real expectations and marriages that work and that weather storms. And so those, I would say, are the two main categories of the Faith Church of Atlanta.
Now, before we get into relationships and family, which is a strong component of your church, you mentioned conferences. Now, there are a few events that are coming up at your church. Tell us about those.
The first one that's going to be coming up is our Marriage Matters night. We take the time at the end of the year to just celebrate the fact that we're still together. Many of the families or the couples that came together, they didn't know they were going to stay together through our time of impartation that we do every other month at the Faith Church. And so that's our time. We're going to go out to the Chop House, and any of your viewers are more than welcome to join us. They just let us know at the Faith Church they're coming. And we're going to go out. We're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate and talk about some of the testimonies of how God have kept us, sustained us, put our marriages back together, started new families from families that were kind of like breaking up. Now all of a sudden babies are coming and they loving each other and everything is working out. And so we're going to talk about that and just celebrate the end of the year. And then also on the 20th and the 21st, is that the right date for the play?
The 20th and the 22nd.
The 20th and the 22nd of December, we're doing a play called The Gift. It's a spin on not your typical Christmas experience, but it talks about how to put the significant part of what Christmas is about, and that is the ultimate gift. And then the last thing we're going to do our marriage retreat, and that's in April.
Awesome. Awesome. So you have a core focus on marriage and family, and I want to talk about that because there's so many churches, unfortunately, that don't have singles ministries, married ministries, men's, women's ministries, and I think they're missing a great opportunity to really pour into the lives of individuals. And I know that when you meet people's needs, your churches grow.
Yes, that is so true.
And it's just ironic that you say that, because there's a young man at our church right now. When I first met him, he was not a member of our church. He was going somewhere else. But him and his wife are going through a tremendous amount of some issues in their marriage. And so I ended up, someone ended up bringing him to me, introduced me to him, and I started talking to him about what he needed to do. Well, here they are now, they're members of our church, and that's how that ended up happening. He came because he said, what you told me helped, and what you told me helped my marriage. I did what you said, it helped me, and so I had to be there. I had to become connected. He's a great guy. Him and his wife are expecting a baby right now, and so those are the things we're talking about, and you're right. A lot of times we don't talk about marriages. We don't want to deal with the singles, and we deal with all of that. As a matter of fact, we encourage our singles to come to our marriage seminars because they have to know how to be married. And so it's good. Sometimes they can sit and hear. Sometimes, depending on what we talk about, we may have closed door sessions with just the married couples, but for the most part, they're hearing the ups and downs. They're hearing what to do, and so when they know how to choose a mate, they know what to look for. They know what to expect, because they're seeing these things played out right in front of them. We don't shun them out, because if they're going to, we want to make sure that when they're coming to ask us, "Hey, can you marry me?" at least they have already done a lot of their homework.
That is powerful, because there's so many ministries that keep singles and married so separate and far apart.
Can't do it.
And there was an article that came out some time ago in a magazine, and it said, "Is the church keeping women single?" It was a powerful indictment of an article, because it suggests that a lot of the things that are being taught from the pulpit aren't biblical, but their opinion. I'm going to show you this because I don't want you to go through what I went through. And so in essence, they take on these beliefs and customs that keep them from having what they ultimately want to have. So beyond inspiration, which I know you give them, you got to give these folks information.
Absolutely.
What are the tools and skills that you're telling these singles about being married, and then married folk about staying married?
Well, I'm going to tell you one of the things that we tell both of our singles and our married people. The first thing you're going to have to learn how to do, because we're so strong-headed, especially women, we have an opinion about everything. But the first thing we teach everyone is you got to give up the right to be right.
Wow.
And in a relationship, it's not about you being right. It's not about me being right. We can both be right or we can both be wrong. But how about we learn how to submit to each other? And if your idea doesn't work, two heads are better than one, honey. Let's kind of figure this out. And if we still don't get it and we are not listening to God, let God tell us what to do. And I think one of the things that people come in as single people, they think, well, it's either going to be a fairy tale or I'm just going to tell my husband what to do. I'm going to run my wife. That's not it. That's not the way God intended it. And also for married people, a lot of times they have seen a structure that may not be the God kind of structure that God wants exemplified in Christian marriages. And so what they do is they create traditions, or they perpetuate the traditions that they've seen, healthy and unhealthy, and they sabotage their own marriages. And so we teach them how to give up the right to be right. And I think one of the other things we teach them, you got to learn how to have fun. Stop taking everything so seriously. You know, I tell him, you know, sometimes when I get up and I introduce, because he does most of the preaching at our church, I'm the bishop, but, you know, and when I'm in church, I'm his boo. I'm going to always be his boo.
Okay.
I'm for better, for worse, for richer, however it works, I'm going to always be his boo.
I caught that. Loud and clear.
And one of the things I often tell people, I tell them, I said, you know what, I want to introduce, you know, our pastor, but I want to introduce the father of my children, but I want to introduce my sweet thing. You know, normally you hear men say that about their husband, but this is my Superman, you know. There's nothing that he cannot do as long as God is with him, and I am backing him.
Yes.
And so I want our married people to always see that. I want our families to see that. I want those who endeavor to be married, I want them to see, yes, we go through ups and downs. Yes, they see us act crazy sometimes. I don't mean like wrong crazy, but they see us like, you know what, y'all need y'all own talk show. We do, because we are very transparent. There's nothing worse than coming to the house of the Lord where truth and revelation is supposed to come and you be fake in front of the people. You do them a disservice. You do the word of injustice, and so we always try to make sure that we just serve it to them real well, that we give them a glimpse of who we are, the bad, the worst, the good, the bad.
But I think that's critical, because sometimes people do learn through lessons and take this down, write these notes, but then others learn through observation and participation. So if I'm in an environment where I see how people play their marriage out, it gives me a better understanding of how I can play it out in my own life. So in essence, you're not only their pastors, but you're operating as marriage mentors to your couples.
And they see us really love each other. I mean, even though, you know, we have them over our house or whatever, and they see us kind of butt heads about certain things, but they always see the love that we have for one another.
And they see how we fix it right in front of them immediately.
And so we go back to, we give up the right to be right. So even if it's something that I just want to get done, and you know, sometimes it's like, okay, let's just go ahead and just come together, get a decision, and make it happen. But one of the things from the question that you asked, especially when we start talking about our single women, we really teach them what to look out for. Because what I'm finding is that, not that they're desperate, but in a sense you kind of sometimes feel that when they say, you know, I'm getting ready to get married, Pastor. I said, well, let me talk to them. Or let me find out what, you know, are you going to come to marriage counseling, those type of things. And so we teach them to look for the red flag areas, because a lot of times they may end up getting married to someone who's going to be abusive. Yes. Someone who's not going to want to accept them if they have, or accept their children if they have them. And me and my wife have had the chance to sit down and talk to people who are getting ready to get married, may have had extended families or not, and put things in front of them to get them to know the importance of this decision that they are getting ready to make. Right. We had one lady who we really had to just put things out on the table. Now, I'm not saying that we talked them out of it, but once they put those things out on the table, they understood that this is just probably just not going to work. So in essence, we saved some heartache, we saved some pain.
That is
so we really make them deal with the hard questions.
That's deep because, you know, a lot of times we get in our zone and we don't want anybody's opinion, no one's input. What's between us is between us. And I tell people all the time, when you're in the selection process, whatever you want to term it, dating, committed courtship, you have to find people who are emotionally disconnected from you and your partner that can give you a fair assessment because they're going to see things that you don't see.
Right.
And so that is so critically important. You are saving marriages before they even begin.
We're trying our best. We want you to be happy. We just want you to be happy.
So tell me more about, you have the seminar coming up, you have the retreat coming up.
Yes.
Tell me about that. Like, is this your first time doing this, or is this an annual thing that you do with the retreats?
The retreat is going to be something annual. It'll be our first time doing it. It's going to be in April. It starts the day after Easter, just to take a couple days off for the families to learn how to deal with conflict resolution, how to deal with building a romantic infrastructure for your marriage, how to deal with blended families, and how to get a real vision for your marriage and for your entire family. And so we're going to talk about a lot of things. We'll have a good time. We'll have some fun.
Yeah. And then it'll be an overnight event and
2 nights.
Yeah, 2 nights, and you know there's going to be a cost involved, and we'll get more of that information out. But one of the things that really, you know, we look at, you know, we go out and buy a new car, and all through that process of having that car, we buy new tires, we pay to get it washed, it breaks down, we go pay to get it fixed by the manufacturer. But we don't spend the same time investing in our marriages.
Yes.
And what happens a lot of times when you have these marriage retreats and there's a cost involved, you know, somebody be like, I don't want to do that. But sometimes you need to invest in what's important to you.
Yes.
And that's one thing we want people to don't get so involved. And the cost is not very large, but invest in what's important to you. And so when we go, we know we're going to have a really great time, and marriage is going to be definitely restored there.
My wife and I run Couples Academy, and one of our major principles is that you have to learn to put money in your marriage.
Yes.
That's right.
You have to put that investment in if you want to receive a return on that investment. Jawanta Kunjufu said we do a better job of choosing our cars, clothes, colleges, and careers than we do selecting a mate.
Yes,
but then when we select them, we don't put in the maintenance as you're suggesting.
Right.
So I'm excited about your ministry. I'm glad I found out about you.
Okay, we found out about you.
Tell the audience, listen, there's many people watching right now. How can they find out more about your church and your upcoming events?
Well, they can always log on to thefaithchurchatlanta.org. That's thefaithchurchatlanta.org. Find out the upcoming things that we've got, going on, and then people can find me on Facebook. They can just pick a page. There's about 4 or 5 of them. You've got Bishop Tyear Wilson McCrary. That's Tyear Wilson McCrary. And then you have the official page, because I've got hacked a few times. Well, of course, we have the Facebook page. They can find me on Twitter, same name, Bishop Tyear.
And they can find me at just Pastor Scott McCrary on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter or anything right now, but right on Facebook. And then we're at 4352 Burns Road in Little Bern, Georgia. And we've got Thursday services, midweek services at 7:30, and then our Sunday services start at 10 a.m.
Some for the whole entire family.
Wonderful. Well, folks, if you are serious about your marriage and about your single life, I want you to check out their ministry, go to one of their services, attend one of their retreats or their seminars, be blessed by what they're offering. Listen, we're heading up for another great musical selection by Queen Ani. Stay right there.